All right, we're back at it.
This is another great episode Corey lined up and looking forward to it. We've got so much is happening in the past 3, 4, 5 months. Stellar year. Markets are looking good and very favorable. AI is in full-blown effect. We're seeing it everywhere. We're talking about it pretty much every week.
We have a new president.
A new president.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Causing some ruckus.
Yeah. Disruptor.
That's right. No, nothing to really complain about. We've had a great year and lots to be thankful for.
Absolutely. Well, today on the show, we have a very colorful character who has joined us. He's actually a peer, colleague, friend, and I think today there's a possibility we might be learning a little bit about the consumption of wine and possibly some other spirits.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that part. It's like a cooking show, but better.
But better. So, yeah, it's a bit of a new venture for us to be going down this path for a podcast like this. So, please bear with us. So, without further ado, today on the show, we have, with 22 years of experience as an advisor, Mike Musi, the owner of a firm located outside of Montreal, Quebec, dedicated to building trusting relationships with his clients, providing expert advice, support to help them with their life goals. Known for his disciplined approach, Mike takes great satisfaction in regularly meeting with clients to keep them informed and confident about their financial health. My greatest satisfaction is renewing my commitment at every stage of your life, supporting all of your financial decisions as your trusted financial partner. Mike, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is an awesome experience. Awesome.
We're happy to have you here. You have a lot to share. And so just to let everybody know, we're not actually going to be talking about financial planning and investing today on the show. We might talk about investing.
A little bit.
Could be some synergies there that we're need to align in the conversation here.
I think so.
But I think we're going to do it the same way we recommend to clients to do it, is in a relaxed environment.
Yes.
With the ones you love, and maybe over a glass or a nice beverage. And I think this is what we're promoting here today, is an opportunity to enjoy a nice drink, maybe better understand it, and then bring some of that joy back into your holidays and whatever season you want to be having a drink for.
For sure. It is exciting times. I thank you guys for having me. This is a cool experience for me. It's a first. So I'm just getting the knack of how to go about talking to you guys and expressing my gratitude. And let's see what the next hour or so gives us.
Well, Mike, you've been a really good friend. I was lucky enough to meet you through a peer group. We've known each other for some time now. And just the energy you give off, you're clearly very entrepreneurial, very positive guy in everything that you do. And what you've been doing with what we're going to talk about today is super exciting. Like Corey and I have been watching this and just awestruck. It's incredible to see what the impact you're making, some of the stuff you're adding to the market. And so I'm sure even inside the financial planning world that you also run in, I'm sure you bring some great value to your clients.
Yeah. So as you mentioned in the intro, thank you for that, Corey. I basically have my first passion, which is financial planning, running a successful firm just outside of Montreal. We touch a little bit of whatever society throws at us. So there's not a situation. I often say that I don't think any client can ever stump me. I think we've seen it all. There's nothing that somebody's going through that we haven't encountered ourselves within the firm or with our clients. So, day in and day out, you build a beautiful team that supports that vision of yours. And clients, I think, appreciate the genuine approach that we have. We don't judge people's stories, and we're always there to try to find a solution to help them through whatever they're going through. So this new project of mine just, as you say, things just happen for a reason. And this one obviously did. It just fell in my lap. And I seized the opportunity, thanks to a little bit of push to consider it more seriously almost a year and a half ago. And
let's really talk about and explore, it fell in your lap. Like, you weren't out there looking for a side hustle.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, come on, like let's be open here, Mike. Like, we're on the couch. Like, it's
so look, I'll give you a fast synopsis. So basically, we run, as I mentioned, we run a fairly successful firm, and my bucket list for my firm was to add some multidisciplinary professionals that touch files on a weekly basis with us. And one of them is a notary, and he works out of the office. A super guy. His name is Alessandro. Let's call him Alex to make things easier for us. So Alex has approached me about a year ago, and he says, you know what? There's a gentleman who has a license in Quebec who gets to sell spirits and wine in private import territory. So for those that don't know, the SAQ, just like the LCBO, is the entity that manages alcohol for the provinces. But they do let a parallel system coexist, which is private import. Does it mean it's shady? Does it mean it's more expensive? The answer to both questions is no. All it means is that you're catering to potentially smaller entities that produce maybe artisanal products, things that are unique that unfortunately entities like the SAQ or the LCBO cannot bring to market because the capacity is very limited. Perfect example of that is a white wine we'll be tasting later on. Comes from the region of Cinque Terre in Italy. Well, for those that know that region, the wines are spectacular. They're some of the best wines in the world, according to my opinion. And unfortunately, most of the producers can make between 2,000 and 3,000 bottles a year. So it's impossible to be able to supply a whole province with that quality of wine. So that said, I go back to the initial story, is that Alessandro said to me, listen, this gentleman, his wife is ailing. He's an older gentleman. And for those that don't know, there's only so many permits that are issued by the province of Quebec. And we were lucky enough to have a conversation with this gentleman, and we agreed to take over this permit. And long story short, here we are. We took over that permit. I decided with my partner Alessandro to do a full rebranding, hence the black concept of the vino. And I will add that there's something to be said about running a parallel business with nothing but ideas and dreams and aspirations, and not having to worry about generating a salary.
Yeah.
And I mean that with the most humble approach I can. There's no arrogance in what I'm about to explain. Is that you're just having fun. And in the work that we do in our day job, it's high level of emotion, high level of empathy. So this is a beautiful, beautiful distraction. It marries well with the entrepreneurial spirit that we have, because let's not kid ourselves, right? Our firms, we're entrepreneurs. We manage teams, we manage clients, we manage suppliers, and there's no 2 days alike. So this is a beautiful add-on, I guess.
And if you like wine, it's...
Listen, if you love wine, if you're passionate about stories, if you're passionate about travel, I mean, I'm blessed and I'm confident that there's something for everyone at Divino. And we have stories. I mean, we have so many beautiful stories with the products and the people we met. And I think I issued a small post regarding that. I mean, could you imagine dealing with a 4th or 5th generation producer, and then you have the privilege of like importing it back home, and you're talking to that producer whose great grandfather started the vineyard. I mean, it's just spectacular. Great stories. Great stories.
Wow, that's amazing, Mike. It's amazing. You certainly have the vision for it.
Thank you. I'm having fun.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about how you got into the financial services. Let's start there. Let's start off with the young Mike. How did that transition? And we can come back into your current story.
So I graduated from Concordia University in Montreal in economics and finance, and always had a love for the financial markets and financial industry. And I don't know. I guess the way I was raised with certain level of values and stuff, I think the insurance caught my eye as well. Making sure that you're taking care of families, making sure you're protecting, breadwinners, businesses, protecting partners that make sure that their respective families are taken care of if, God forbid, something should happen. So everything just married well together. So listen, I think that my initial interest in the financial world led me to where I am today. My dad is an entrepreneur. My grandfather was. My uncles are. I mean, so I always had that growing up. So I guess it was an easy transition to try to build a firm and make something of my own. And now I'm proud to say that we have a team of 9 people at the office, and we cater pretty much every aspect of society. One of my first clients was making ballet shoes.
Wow.
I mean, could you imagine ballet shoes? I mean, who would have thought that was something that you could take care of?
Yeah. You brought your dad up. What's some of the best things your dad taught you?
Listen, my dad was always a guy who worked early on in his life. We had a fruit farm back in. I'm actually Turkish background, so we had a orange and lemon groves. So they worked on those to make money and provide for the family. My dad came here when I was 2 years old with a suitcase. Typical cliche story of an immigrant family coming here. And my dad was privileged enough to start in the fur business. He still has a manufacturer today, and he's a fur manufacturer, one of the oldest industries in Canada, and one of the only few companies left in Montreal. So I worked there during my studies. I learned the ins and outs about shipping, client relationships, sales, and everything that a manufacturer has to deal with. So yeah, I guess I was exposed to it early on. So it kind of shaped who I am today.
Well,
yeah,
good work ethic.
I think so.
Do you see that? Do you see that a lot? I think I see it a lot. You have immigrated families, immigrated business owners. Some of that work ethic that's instilled, it helps create success. I think that's the good side story, right?
Yeah, and what's beautiful about immigrant families is that everybody has a story. So that shaped the way I approach financial planning. So my team knows that no client is to be judged. Everybody has a story. If you pay enough attention, somebody's going to teach you something new. So when you have that mindset going into a relationship, it's you let your guard down. So really, what are we doing in our day jobs? We're really building relationships with people that want to fall in love with you and know that they can trust you with whatever they're going through. So, everybody's smart, everybody's awesome, everybody's good looking. So I always say that that's the fluff, right? It's the nitty gritty that makes a difference in what we do. It doesn't matter what business you're in, because your values and your personality is what shines, right?
I think there's a lot of parallels there sometimes, whether it's an immigrated family or whether it's somebody starting a business, is that you have an ideal or you have a goal in mind. It's like, hey, we're gonna come from this very painful place and hopefully go somewhere where my family can be safer. Or I'm gonna start a business because what I see is this great restaurant, or I see a great business of gonna produce something. And you have to live with that vision and kind of guide that so strongly for so long, because you're not going to get it on day one.
Absolutely.
So you really have to press into that and believe in it.
Absolutely. So when you use your background and your day to day, it shapes the way you see the world. And at the end, what are we trying to do? We're trying to instill good values in our children. We want to show them that it's okay to have hard times, but nothing lasts forever. Not the good, not the bad. So you just got to overcome. And in our firms, we see all sorts of stuff. People that build beautiful businesses and unfortunately get sick, and they didn't plan for that. Or a sudden death in the family, they didn't plan for that either. Or families that have disabled children. That's something we encounter a lot more often these days. And the level of empathy that's needed to deal with different situations is what's taxing on our emotions. So you need an outlet. And my outlet, I'm blessed to say, that happened to be this beautiful project of mine, and it's just taken a life of its own. So honestly, I have nothing but good to say. I'm blessed. Sometimes I'm scared to pinch myself, because you're saying, well, wow, like a year and a half ago, I would have never imagined. I would say, are you crazy? I have enough. I'm a father who has 2 kids. So, you're busy with your home life and as I mentioned, 9 employees. Like it's always something going on. There's always something going on. You're always taking care of something.
You're never bored.
Never. There's always a different day every day, so it's fun.
So fast forward down the road, your current or this new business continues to be successful. Do you still see yourself having a successful practice in the background or on the side or paralleled?
I do. I never imagined that one was going to take over the other. I think the Divino agency is just a side. I mean, you're going to call it a side hustle, a side distraction. but it's taught me on my practice of insurance that just, take a step back. It's calmed me down. So I don't know if it was intentional, but I find myself a little bit more posed. I'm a bit more along the lines of delegating in a more efficient manner.
Sure.
I always thought I was doing it well before, and now I feel like, okay, I only have so many hours in a day. I gotta make sure that my kids are happy with me, my wife is happy with me, my staff is happy with me, my suppliers are happy with me, and Divino was just going to be for fun, and now it's taken a life of its own. A little bit of social media content, and I'm driving in my car home, and I get a phone call from a random restaurant downtown Montreal, higher end, let's say Italian restaurant, who says, "Hey, by the way, I saw you on TikTok." I'm like, "Okay." He says, "Well, is there any way you could come and see us? We'd love to chat about some of your spirits that you have." I mean, when does that ever happen? Like, you would think you would be watching a movie, and that's probably part of the script, right? So it's just awesome.
Amazing.
It's just been an amazing ride. And we're, by the way, only about 8 months in.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Wow. Very cool, bud. Very, very cool.
I think so.
Well, for everybody that's watching and listening, we probably should have a drink of something.
I think so. Let's
let's tee it up here. What are we going to sample here first?
Okay. So obviously, I was going to bring you as close to home runs as possible. So what we'll start with is a Prosecco just outside the Venice area, because that's where Prosecco comes from, for those that don't know.
My wife's going to love this.
So there's a contest every year. This year was held in, don't quote me on the date, but I think it was around the month of April or May. It was held in Vienna, Austria, and they had a competition for the best Prosecco. And the one we're tasting actually won gold.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So we started the agency officially on March 1st of this year. So could you imagine, about a month and a half later, we get the certificate emailed to us from the producer, say, by the way, we won gold, and you guys represent our Prosecco.
Wow.
Incredible, Mike.
So listen, it's
so
just,
on Prosecco, like for the people that don't, because there's people that get confused, champagne, Prosecco, bubbly, all that. Like, can you give a little bit of a...
So champagne is only able to be called champagne because it comes from the Champagne region of France. Spain has something similar called cava.
I did not know that. I've now learned something today.
Cava is a bubbly from Spain, and Italy has Prosecco. And listen, in French, there's places that call it vin mousseux, sparkling wines. I won't say it's pretty much all the same thing because it's not, so don't quote me on that, but it's a rendition of.
Right.
Fair enough?
Yep.
So if you allow me, I'm going to be
absolutely
opening this bottle.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about this.
So this comes outside of the region of Venice, so Prosecco. It's from a vineyard called Althea. So, by the way, all the wines that we represent, all the spirits, we've had conversations, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to take over this project is we wanted to make it not just about wine. Every agency in Quebec and Ontario has their style. I want it to be different because I could afford to be different.
Sure.
And again, I'm gonna say all these comments very humbly. I'm being as humble as possible. So forgive the pop.
Oh yes.
So you want to do the honors?
Oh
sir?
sure. Yes. I'll do that.
So why I want it to be different is because I said to myself, okay, how many times have you gone to a vineyard with your family, with your loved ones, with your significant other, tasted an amazing wine or an amazing spirit, and said, oh my God, I got to bring this back home. You bring it back home, and you're limited on the quantity you could bring.
Yeah.
And for those that, I don't know, I'm assuming the LCBO works the same way as the SAQ, but you can have wine shipped back to your house.
Thank you.
But you can't just receive it at the price that you bought the bottles. There's a duty to pay on that bottle. So, you're not going to buy a $15 bottle and pay $15 or $20 of duties on top of that. So You'll do it maybe on a 6 or 12 bottle capacity, but
Does Althea mean anything? Was that like a goddess or anything? Or, no, that was Athena.
Athena. Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
Athena.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Step one.
In the eyes. In the eyes. In the eyes.
Cheers.
Yeah. It's good.
Right in the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to finish my, how do you guys like that?
Really nice. Amazing. That's amazing.
Is that fresh or what?
That is super nice.
So what makes this this Prosecco unique, and I'll go back to the story later on, but basically what makes it unique is the bubbles are super fine.
Okay.
They're beautiful. They're super fine bubbles.
So let's talk about bubbles for 2 seconds here, because I know lots of people don't know. When you say bubbles are fine, so there's actually a distinct difference between a Prosecco, a cheaper one versus a more expensive. Could you say just on the bubbles?
Well, some are created naturally and some are infused. So these are natural bubbles, like a champagne is. It's not a champagne, so I'm going to repeat myself. I'm not trying to say that this is like a champagne, but if you serve this to somebody, I'd be very surprised if they could tell the difference.
It's amazing looking. Like just looking at it is quite a nice.
So the sugar content of an average Prosecco will range between 18 and 20 grams of sugar.
Okay.
Per glass?
Per liter.
Per liter.
Per liter. Okay. This bottle and the sister of this bottle, which is a rosé Prosecco.
This is the rosé.
No, this is the white.
The
this
white.
is the
I'm
blue.
sorry. Yeah.
And the sister of this one is a rosé.
Okay, I saw that one on your website. That's awesome.
It's according to me, it's probably a super sexy bottle.
Yes.
Because it's beautiful for presentation purposes, and it's a fresh rosé. It's really nice, and both of them have the same sugar content. Sorry, I repeat: between 18 and 20, an average Prosecco will have grammage of sugar. This one has 9.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
9.
It's like a skinny.
It is a skinny.
So it's healthier.
It's healthier.
So you can drink 2.
Okay.
So
This is for all the fitness people. We're going to
Yes.
do a crossover for all the fitness people. Going into January.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of success with the Proseccos. Some great restaurants in Montreal are carrying it. So we're blessed to have that relationship. And it is a very fresh Prosecco.
Awesome. Tastes fantastic.
Yeah.
How much, Mike, have you learned in less than a year about wine in general that you didn't know?
Well, I'm going to humbly say that I thought I knew quite a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I knew 40%.
Yep.
But really, after getting into the venture, I probably realized I only knew 5%.
That's what I figured you were.
So I'm nowhere close to be a sommelier. I just love the stories behind the bottles, the passion behind the producers. I had the privilege early on this year to travel. My daughter's a figure skater, so I kind of piggybacked on a trip to go watch her World Championships in Switzerland early on this year, and I took the opportunity with Alessandro, my partner. We went to Tuscany, went to visit the family that produces wine. They're 4 generations in. We called them and said, listen, we're going to be in Tuscany. We're going to be in Florence. The vineyard is just outside of San Gimignano, which is about 45 minutes outside of Florence. And we thought that, you know what, let's go for an hour. Let's just meet the family, give them a hello.
Sure.
And then we'll be on our way. And they'll get to see our faces in person. And well, that 1 hour meeting ended up being 4.5 hours. It was such a beautiful experience. And this was a Saturday afternoon. And the father was insistent that Monday we return to their secondary location, which is just up the coast. The main city is called La Spezia, which is just outside of Cinque Terre, which is the next wine that we'll be trying, the white wine. No segue, it's just
This is so good. This is so exciting.
Segue. So
Sure.
the white wine comes from Cinque Terre, and he says you got to come and visit the storage facility underground. You're going to come see we make our own olive oil. We make our own balsamic vinegar. We make our own grappa. You're going to come and taste this white wine. We're going to bring you to the fields and you'll see the vines. So I just want, for the listeners, I just want you to envision yourself standing almost on the side of a cliff. And as far as the eye could see all the way down that cliff, down to the water, just rows and rows and rows of vines.
Oh.
And the vines are extra hardy because they need to work doubly hard to survive. And they produce some of, according to me, the best white wine that I've ever had. The one we'll be trying will be a Vermentino. So Vermentino is a grape that grows along the coasts. So you have a Vermentino out of France, out of Spain, out of Italy, out of Greece. Well, this one in particularly tastes the same way you smell the air when you stand on those fields. And the heavier big brothers and big sisters of that wine are some of the more expensive wines, but it's the equivalent of melting a piece of chocolate in your mouth and feeling that velvety finish. That's what the wine tastes like. So I can't describe it any differently on the radio or on TV.
You got me excited.
You've
just
got
with
me.
That,
You got me.
That
here.
overall description.
This is nice.
You had me at
You're
hello.
a storyteller.
You had me at hello.
I'm trying to describe this. Like, how would you describe this? Since there
You
is
might have to
people-
dim the lights.
That's right.
Well,
There is people that are going to
keep
be
your clothes on.
not watching.
Keep your clothes on.
Just close your eyes. It's going to be fine.
So how would you describe this? It's kind of the flavor profile of this guy that we're having right now.
Listen, this is a very fresh
I was going to say.
finish. It's crisp.
It is.
You can eat this with oysters, sushi, sashimi. You could drink this all night long.
It's very nice.
I jokingly tell my wife, you cannot mix this in a spritz. This is too good for a spritz.
No.
This is probably one of the nicest Proseccos I've ever had.
Yeah, it's
Oh, you're just saying that because I gave you $100.
It's true. Because I've had a lot of Prosecco. Michelle loves Proseccos. So we often have Proseccos and Cavas. And, and I'm very fortunate to piggyback off that because if Michelle orders, I'll have some. But this is, Michelle, if she was here right now, she'd be loving this.
So you're not putting this as in an Aperol spritz?
No, it's too good to be in
very
an
bad.
Aperol.
Yeah, this is dynamite.
Thank you.
Wow.
So we're
This is 5-star. I'm going to give this if this was Barstool Sports, we're like, okay,
Yeah.
first test. This is this is right up there. Yeah.
So the premise of running a wine and spirits agency is that you want to make it your own. So people that know me intimately know that I won't half-ass something. So am I allowed to say half-ass?
You can say anything.
say-
you want.
Okay, wow.
You can
this is
say
awesome.
worse. Corey's going to drop something
Yeah,
at
yeah.
one point. Just, we
Okay,
haven't
sorry,
got there
I
yet.
didn't know. I
Don't
don't know.
worry, it'll come. It'll come.
This is not a
So
G-rated.
I don't want to half-ass anything.
Sure.
And I figured you might say, you know what would I serve at my house to my most intimate guests and not feel embarrassed to serve them? So every time we add, which by the way, we'll get into that later on, but I'm adding such beautiful stuff for 2025. Like I'm so excited to share with you guys. But every vineyard that we add on to the agency listing, we make sure that we pick up a bottle of every SKU they have. We actually taste them. We don't have any two bottles that compete against each other within our lineup. So I'll arrogantly say, and this is the only arrogant comment I'll make today, is that if somebody doesn't buy wine or spirits from Divino, it's because they don't like Alex or they don't like Mike. Because it's impossible that I don't have something for
I
everyone.
like it. I like the confidence.
Yeah, that's
It's impossible. We have everything from rosés all the way up to a Brunello and everything in between. And on the spirits, you name it, we have it. We have gin, we have vodka, we have rum, Proseccos. And 2025, we just finalized about 10 days ago, we're going to have tequila.
wow.
Whoopee!
Tequila is coming. So that, for me, is
We'll have to do
so
a part
exciting.
2 to this show.
Oh, yeah.
Tequila is making me so excited because it's one of my favorite drinks. We're going to add an anejo to the lineup, reposado cristalino,
Where's that all going to come from?
the heart of tequila land, Jalisco. So we have a pink tequila as well that's coming in our lineup.
Oh,
Wow. That's
So we're having fun.
interesting.
And the last thing we'll taste today will be something that we added recently as well, is Amaro that comes from Sicily, just outside of the Mount Etna region. So you'll give me your feedback on that later on. But there's so many good things going on with the vino. I'm having so much fun.
This is nice, boys. Like, you think about the process of sharing a drink, and it doesn't have to be alcoholic. I realize there's going to be some people who just, this is not their thing, or they've faced alcohol issues in the past. So I realize you don't have to have an alcoholic drink to share some emotions. But it is nice to be able to share, chat about life, solve world problems. How much has this been part of your life in the past, Mike? Whether it's with clients, whether it's with your family, whether it's colleagues, just the act of the ritual, sitting down, sharing some time, sharing some feelings and thoughts.
Well, listen, if you go back to your beginnings as a firm owner, I mean, I'm assuming you had probably similar feedback that I did. You get the good and the pushback. You have people that are not sure if they want to entertain your new project. When I started the firm, there's people that won't deal with you until later on in your career when they realize that you're actually successful and you're doing well. I encountered that. I was young, straight out of university. So it's only normal that a super successful business owner is not going to just open up the gates and say, please come in. Please help me with whatever problems I don't think I have. But when they see you years later and they realize that, you know what, you're building a team, you have a process, you're doing well, well, maybe they'll like, the guy that's taking care of me now or the girl that's taking care of me now is not necessarily doing the same thing I'm noticing with you. So give me your opinion. So I used to say back then, well, I'm the best plan B you'll ever have. So just give me a chance and I promise you won't regret it. That's how
sure I used that line on women back in the day.
Oh, did you? That was part of the.
And that was only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
That's a,
Please call me.
Yeah. I can be C, D, whatever, you know. Yeah.
So I mentioned that story because it's similar with the wine agency. People that I were sure were going to say, hey, Mike, come on, tell me about what you have. Like, I drink wine. Like, tell me what wine I should buy from you. Have never bought a bottle until this day. So that's sometimes disappointing. And at the same time, you say, okay, well, what's the reason? What am I doing wrong? Am I making a goof out of myself in this process? Because that was the biggest apprehension I had about being so open and out there with even social media with Divino, because we have a serious job on our day-to-day. We deal with serious stuff. We deal with $400 million businesses. We deal with estates. We deal with illnesses, deaths, suicide, assisted suicide now. This is like the new thing. So I really see like heavy stuff on my day-to-day. So I'm serious. Like I am serious in my day-to-day. So when people see like Divino, they're like, well, what's going on with Mike? Is he like losing it? Like he's like a goof. And I'm the first to say like my videos on TikTok and Instagram are
fantastic.
Well, you say they're fantastic, but I'm the first to admit that they're cheesy, they're corny.
I don't think so.
But thank you. I appreciate
I like the volcano. That was
fun. Well, we're gonna taste that at the end.
That's perfect.
Yeah. But listen, according to me, I find them cheesy and corny, but it doesn't matter what I think because the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
That Amaro was one of the first videos I did, and the Amaro sold out in 72 hours.
Wow.
I would have never imagined, never. And people were like jumping on the bottles, like saying, okay, I need to taste it. Buying it, never tasting it. They just bought like 6 bottles at a time. 72 hours, the inventory was gone. And I basically doubled down for the holidays. Actually, if all goes well, by the end of this day, the shipment that arrived is going to be cleared by the SAQ in Quebec. And I'll have them available as of next week. But it's just been a success after success. And I take a step back and I reflect. And a lot of the feedback I'm getting for social media is like, okay, you don't have to be serious. You could be yourself. And you're going to have haters. You're going to have people that are going to comment. And most of the comments I got that were negative are people that are not insurance clients. They've never opened an RSP account. They've never asked me for financial advice, even off the record. And they've never bought a bottle of wine. So I said to myself, okay, well, what's the point? What's the point? So I guess it's easy behind a screen or behind a telephone to just write whatever.
Haters,
Yeah. So, I don't know if you've had similar experiences with...
all the time. I think that's the nature of
It is.
entrepreneurship and business, right? I mean, if you go back and look at growing a business, whether it's ours or someone else's, is that there's a lot of you can't do it. You're never going to make it. There's a lot of surprises that you weren't expecting, that suddenly your business is under a great deal of pressure and you have to live another day or choose not to. You don't have to. You can just say, I'm going to pull the pin and we're not doing this anymore. But if you want to keep on pressing on, then you have to overcome hurdles. And whether it's people who are pointing fingers at you and saying you can't do it, or whether it's the unknown, that mysterious unknown that lies ahead, and trying to navigate around that, you just have to believe in something. And I think this is, but again, going back to what we were saying, it's like this is your practice, this is your business. But I think these conversations, they open it up to, it's nice when a business owner can break bread with you. They can understand you as a person. When they can say, hey, I like Mike. I spent some time together with him, and he's the kind of guy that I really want to spend more time with. And that happens for us too, right? If you, Corey's a big, golf fanatic, and I like golf too. It's that the more time you spend with someone, the true colors start to rise up. You can start seeing who they are and the kind of behavior they have, and they also see that of you, and they can kind of evaluate, is this the kind of person that I really trust in good times and bad?
And I think the naysayers really don't have a handle on the stress, on the risk, on the impact to family, on the impact of your lack of time when you're running a business, and you're giving of yourself, and you're trying to push, right? And people don't really respect or value for a business owner when cash flow's shitty, when you have to do things to make things work, to make payroll, to do, right? Like, I think for the most part, the people that are assholes on social media, they don't get it. They haven't had that pressure applied to them in their life, right? And so it's very, very easy to poo-poo somebody's success or, different venture that they're on, right? And it's, and at the end of the day, do you care, right? I think it's kind of like water off a duck's back with this stuff, right?
But I think disappointment comes from the fact that if you were put in the same situation, observing somebody else's success that you appreciate,
Yes.
you would not act in that manner, right?
No.
So, we worship people on TV that have 4 or 5 businesses and are doing well. And I got a phone call last week from somebody that we have in common, and who said, "Thank you so much for that video you posted last Sunday." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You know how many phone calls I get about people thinking you're going to leave the insurance industry and let go of your firm just to sell wine?" And I said, "Oh my God, like, is that the impression I'm giving people?" Like, so you question yourself and you say, "Okay, let me take a step back. And maybe those goofy videos have to, I got to scale them back a little." But at the same time, I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm all in at this point.
You go.
I'm at this point. People are buying my passion. They're understanding that, I have a certain level of class that I give myself. And I'm not saying I'm a classy guy by all.
Oh, you're super classy.
Thank you. That's only because I give you money earlier. So.
Well, that's true.
But
how it works.
But I say, you know what? I have standards. Like if I go to a vineyard, well, I know what to expect and I know what not to expect. So to basically say, well, I want everybody who buys a bottle of wine from our agency or a spirit knows that they can go visit that producer anywhere in the world. They can go to Austria, they can go to France, they can go to Italy, and so on and so forth. And they know that they're going to go there. They will be sent by Divino, and they'll say, well, listen, we bought your wine in Quebec and we loved it, so we're here to visit the vineyard. I'll give you a perfect example is that in Provence, France, there's one of the vineyards that we supply their wines. There's a chateau there that you can sleep. There's a spa. You can stay 3 days with your spouse, do a wine tasting.
Mark this down, Corey.
Have a meal. Yeah. And that castle, that chateau, is owned by a countess. And she's like there since the family has it in the late 16th century.
That's right out of romance novels right there.
It is. And it's just beautiful. You want to go to Italy, no problem. San Gimignano, the family has a place in the heart of the old city of San Gimignano. You can do an agriturismo tasting and food. You can go to Siena, sleep at the top of the hill with a 360-degree view of the Tuscan Valley. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And every single one of these vineyards, every single one of these owners know that our criteria is that. We want people that buy from us to have that experience available to them. So it doesn't have to mean that you have to sleep at a chateau for 3 days, but just know that the option is there.
So you and I were talking before, like this is prior to the show being recorded. You were talking about how much the local consumer here misses out. Like we go to the LCBO, we think, or the SAQ, and we think, wow, we're getting some really good wines. You're buying a, really nice, whatever, Bordeaux or something. How much is that like really false, a false flag? Like we're not getting what we think we're getting, because my understanding is all the good wine is still overseas. Is that right?
Okay, you're partly right. Yes.
Okay,
and I'll explain. And it's not Mike Musi's assessment.
This is it.
I'll share with you the experience I had earlier this year when I went to the vineyard, and I wanted them to understand that we are going to carry a Brunello, so a Super Tuscan, and I wanted them to understand that we can buy a Brunello here in Ontario or in Quebec. Is it fair to say that you could buy a Brunello for $60?
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay. How do I justify the Ontario or Quebec consumer to buy a Brunello from San Gimignano for $130? How do I justify that? People are going to say, like, Mike, you crazy or what? Like, it must be like a spectacular, unique product for me to even consider it. So what the family made me understand is that it's not that it's better than what you're getting. It's just not the same. So she told me 2 things. The first thing she told me was, I dare you to find a $60 bottle that you buy in Canada here in Italy. You'll never find it. So I said, okay. And the second thing she said is, the way the LCBO and SAQ, and again, this is what they explained to me, so please don't attack me. But what they explained is that they go into a region, they'll go into a region like France, for example, and say, we are looking for 40,000 bottles of Pinot Noir, and this is what we're looking for. This is how much we want to pay. Are you in or are you out? That's basically the formula they use.
It's a monopoly.
So listen, this is what they explained to me. So I said, okay, so what do those producers do? There's clearly not one producer that's going to make, maybe there is, but I mean, they're going into a region. So a couple of producers get together and say, okay, well, it's 40,000 bottles. Okay, I have 6. How many you have? I got 8. Okay, how many you have? 10. They get together, label it as a co-op, and send it over. So it doesn't mean that the wine is no good. It's just not the quote-unquote artisanal product that you expect from a private import system.
Right.
Which is what we think we're able to cater to.
So the smaller batch, you're getting truer to what you're asking for. You're getting the right flavor profile and not just the throwaways.
Yeah, that's an easy way to explain it, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
And hold on, for those that love wine and are avid drinkers, and they don't have to be a big connoisseur about it, but we've all heard, well, if the 2011 of this batch is just spectacular. Well, there's reasons for that. There's the temperature, all the climate variables, all the grape, the amount of quantities that they were able to produce. So all those variables made it so that the 2011 batch was just a better year than 2010, for example.
Sure.
So that all those variables are important.
What are the best years right now?
Oh my God, you're gonna stump.
So like if we said to somebody, they're looking and they're getting into wine and they're thinking about things and they go into the LCBO or they jump on the Divino website and they want to order some wine, like how, and I would say for the most part, the majority of the public doesn't really have a good handle on wine in general. So how does somebody know when they go in and they say, okay, I'm used to a Cab Sauv or a Merlot, what am I doing here? Like, what am I paying attention to? What's the points you would give somebody if they were going to get a little bit of education listening to us today? What would you give them?
Well, unfortunately, I can't give you a straight answer because it's unique. It's
per
unique.
region or per country or per.
Okay, I'll give you an answer. I'll give you a story to give you an answer. My wife loves Chardonnay. My wife is a Chardonnay drinker. She loves the California Chardonnays, the Okanagan Valley Chardonnays, but she's not crazy about the French Chardonnays. It doesn't mean that the French Chardonnays are not good. It's just not her palate, right? So it's unique to what you like. Some people like sweeter wines. Like some people love the red California wines, and in some instances, the sugar content is higher. So that's my personal taste is not that. I'm not a high sugar kind of guy because I'm sweet enough, as obviously.
Yeah, that's it.
Definitely.
So so basically, that's the approach that I think I would recommend to somebody. Like you know what you like and you know what you don't. And that said, even though, I mean, have you ever gone on vacation and had a wine and said, "Oh my God, this is spectacular," and then bring it back home and you're like, it's not like I remembered it. Yeah. So many variables. The people you're with, the food you're eating, the mood you're in, all those things are important in making the experience unique. Or when you're receiving some of your favorite guests, somebody that you're looking forward to seeing and you haven't seen them in a long time, and you crack open that bottle that you've been saving for that right moment. Just the anticipation to drink it is like the buildup of like, oh my God, look how awesome this is. So I'm sorry not to give you an answer, but that's an answer an answer.
Let's talk a little bit too. I wouldn't mind asking, since we're talking about this.
We should
awesome.
probably open another bottle.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, it's time is speeding along here.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Okay. Question I have though is there's going to be people who clearly are listening to this thinking, you know what, I totally get it. I like good wine. I understand. I want to spend that kind of money for that kind of wine. But there's also people that I find just don't understand. They for them, their impression of a good bottle of wine is different. It's like, what would be the difference in me buying a $15 bottle of wine than spending $100? And then what do you normally say to someone who's kind of challenged in that, saying like, Mike, why would I spend that much money on a bottle of wine when I can get one for $15 or $20? Like, there's clearly an educated way to explain it. I'm not the one probably to do that.
Well, I think it's easy to be caught up in that argument by saying, well, this bottle is $80, so it's definitely better than the $20 one. That's not true.
That's not true.
That's definitely not true. I'll give you an example. The bottle that we're going to taste right now is a white wine, Vermentino, straight out of Cinque Terre.
Okay.
It's amongst the more expensive white wines that we have, but it's not because it's better than the Sauvignon Blanc we have from Provence. It's because they only make a limited quantity of this. The grape is limited. It's not something, so that's what also drives the prices. The exclusive nature of the grape, exclusive nature of the distribution. For those that know a little bit about the region of around Switzerland, well, Switzerland is a big wine producer. Have you ever had a bottle of Swiss wine?
I have not.
I have never had a bottle of Swiss wine in Canada.
Wow.
I've had it in Switzerland.
Right.
But just because they keep quantities internally.
Small. Yeah.
So
hard to get.
So this is the bottle I was explaining to you from
thanks, Mike.
the cliffs of Cinque Terre.
Cinque Terre.
So look at the color of this wine.
Beautiful.
And now I'm expecting...
Kudos to William, our engineer, sound engineer, who has to watch us.
Will.
To Will.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, boys.
Yep. Here we go.
Cheers.
So I'm expecting some feedback on this Vermentino.
Okay.
That's very
Also very nice. Nice looking. Oh, that's nice.
That is
very nice. Not too sweet.
I've had this
nice and
flavor
smooth.
Before. It's not oaky.
No, that's a nice.
It's not really buttery. It's
a little hints of floral. I think I'm getting some little floral there. Not too sweet. Not overly dry though. I don't find it's not. Sometimes the dry ones can really have a little bit of a kind of a suck in your face kind of feel, but no, it's flavorful on the front, smooth finish, nice and light though. I find it light and it's crisp, so you could probably, pair this up with a lot of different seafood. Probably be great.
Yeah, it's a great apéritif.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm using a lot of French words.
Oh, it's great. I like it.
Very sexy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sexy.
I figured let me make myself a little more exotic.
Oh, you are very exotic.
Thank you so much.
Coming in hot.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. How would you let's hear your description?
Listen, it's a very fresh wine. It's great for entrees, for sushi, like I mentioned earlier, oysters. I mean, you could have this with a pizza. That's how versatile it is.
Sure.
But it's just a great fresh wine.
And the grape is again
It's a Vermentino grape.
Vermentino.
So Vermentino grapes grow all along the coast.
Okay.
But this one in particular it's a $40 bottle, and it's worth every penny.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's a great bottle to have in your lineup.
That'd be a great entertainment bottle.
It is. It's a great way to start your evening. Great with cheeses, strong or light cheeses alike. It pairs very, very well.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you find people make when they don't know wines and they're buying wines?
Listen, I learned this early on, is that, we have this misconception that red meat, it's got to be a red wine. Actually, it's not a rule of thumb. You can have a great white wine to pair it with a piece of meat.
Yes.
So, and vice versa. You could have a great light red with cheese.
Okay.
But in our lineup, I got to say for like entrees and stuff, this is a fantastic bottle. We also have a Sauvignon Blanc that's super light, super fresh. That comes from Provence in France. That lineup, which is going to be the next bottle that I'll showcase, is the red. It's they're certified bio. So some people don't care. Some people don't care about the sugar content. Some people don't care about the pesticides.
What does that mean, certified bio?
The France is very strict and stringent in the way that they certify landowners for production. So if you're getting a bio certified production, It means that you're not using any pesticides. Everything's done au natural. So
how do you farm in a winery with no pesticides? Like, what are they doing to deter, all the different bugs and all the different, like, what would you be doing so that you're conforming to this bio requirement?
Listen, whatever they're doing, and unfortunately I don't have the clear answer for you, but whatever they're doing.
It's 2 in a row, Mike. It's 2 in a row.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm the first to admit that I know.
You're still learning.
I know a lot, but I know nothing.
You're still learning. I understand.
There's got to be some crazy animal involved.
Yeah.
It may not be. It may not be a pesticide.
But what they did tell me is that the French government is very, very strict about that certification. Just like when you look at an Italian bottle that says DOCG, so the region is guaranteed and controlled. So those certifications are not taken lightly. Before a bottle is even bottled, you got to send in a test to the lab, and then they give you the green light to bottle your year's production or yield.
So on a French bottle, you'll see bio on it.
Yeah. So I'll show you right now.
On an Italian bottle, you would see DOCG.
No, it's not the same thing, because DOCG will just guarantee that it comes from a particular region. Just like if I give you the parallel that we talked about earlier about the Champagne. Well, Champagne comes from Champagne, and the delimitations of that land will stipulate that region is only Champagne. So if you're making a Champagne just outside of that region, you can make a Champagne, but you can't call it Champagne.
What do they call it?
Vin Mousseux.
It's the same as Scotch. Is really I learned this on a whiskey tasting course. You always think it was something different, and in Scotch it's really just a whiskey made in Scotland. So it's like,
sorry guys.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
We're opening a bottle.
Yep.
Oh, Shawn, by the way,
Yes.
we mentioned earlier the Rosé Prosecco.
Yes.
I brought a bottle to show you what it looks like.
Oh wow, that is beautiful. That is nice. Love that. That is super, super nice.
And so, Mike, on this, you had talked about earlier that you acquired the license.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have moved into, and you've said that you're now an agency. Right? So for everybody listening, watching, like, just understanding what that actually means.
So there's 2,000 licenses that are issued in Quebec. There's only 600 active. We're proud to be one of them.
Okay.
The other ones are just people that have a license but never really executed anything with respect to the license. We basically have.
Why would that be? Why would there be 2,000 licenses, but there's only 600?
For many reasons. Maybe somebody had the intention of opening a restaurant one day and applied for the license and just never exercised it. Maybe somebody had a restaurant and sold it and just kept the license in case one day they decided.
So it doesn't expire.
It doesn't expire. They do spot checks every 5 years, but I mean that's unique to every person that decides to maybe have a project for the future. In our case, we reach out to different vineyards. I mentioned early on that we wanted to have something different in our offering. So we recently reached out to somebody from Sonoma Valley in California, and they basically signed on recently, but they only have 2 SKUs. So it's beautiful. You're bringing in a micro production of 2 unique products to your lineup. Somebody who likes California wines will say, well, you know what? I'm intrigued. I'd like to deal with a small producer who only makes so many bottles a year. And that's what makes us unique in our approach. So we're trying to do something different in a creative fashion. And we're touching different regions around the world. Like my next step is I'd love to have a Bordeaux in my lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like that too, actually, Mike.
Yeah. So that's what we're looking for a producer now in that region to be able to reach out to and say, listen, here we are. We're 2 awesome guys who are professionals in our day job, and this is our passion, and you give us a chance to represent you here, because they have to choose you, which is a beautiful way to christen the relationship. So once
you have to interview with them, or like you
you set up a Teams or a Zoom, and you just basically say, listen, this is our story, this is what we do for a living, and this is the success we've had. And listen, today with social media, they know who you are before they even meet you. So
fair enough.
So they entertain the meeting, and they tell you, you know what? Okay, yeah, we'll send you a couple of samples upon your request, and we'll say, well, based on your samples, these are the 2 or 3 or 4 SKUs that we feel like we'd like to include on our lineup. I could give you a fast synopsis on the relationship we had with a producer just outside of Vienna in Austria. I've always been intrigued with Rieslings that come from that region and Chardonnays. So I reached out to a lady in that region, and she gave us a moment to chit chat. And lo and behold, she's registered through our agency now. We registered 4 SKUs from Austria. So we're going to carry a Chardonnay, a Pinot Noir, a Riesling, and for our Ontario listeners, we're going to have an orange wine in our lineup.
Those are big now.
Yeah.
I think those are popular. I've not had one.
I had one.
But I see those popping up, people talking about them.
Recently.
So shout out to Joanna in Austria, and she's been a great sport in every step of the way, because it's, there's a language barrier. There's a lot of paperwork with the SAQ to get those people onboarded. But once all those kinks are taken care of, you're basically having fun choosing the products that you think your clients would love to taste and entertain.
Great.
Yeah.
So as we get the next bottle prepared, maybe I'll shoot back to more of a personal question here, Mike. It's like, tell me about your love for your family and how that fits into your businesses and your entrepreneurship and how that empowers you. I'd love to hear, from you on that.
Well, I mean, like every parent who say that, we all love our children, we all want the best for them. I think my approach, my mindset is different in the sense that I have a daughter and a son, so I have the best of both worlds. So my daughter, I've always taught her to be independent, to be self-sufficient, to do whatever makes her happy. I would never want to be a parent that tells their kid, you've got to do this and you've got to do that, So I said, it doesn't matter what you choose to do in your life, as long as you're the best at what you do and you're the happiest at what you do. And inversely, my son still teaches me every day things, So Corey, you'd be happy to know that I thought I knew everything, and then you have a 17-year-old son, and finally you just don't know anything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
So
I think every parent can relate to that.
I got a 17-year-old daughter, so I can totally relate to that.
So my son teaches me every day. He's just a breath of fresh air. So both of them together uniquely show me different aspects of life that sometimes I forget is there. But I think that my motivation on a day-to-day is to keep trekking forward and teaching them that, even today you could start a business and have fun doing it. And even today you can go back to school and take courses and learn new things. And when you know that you don't know everything, you're always on the right path.
Yes.
And you're always growing.
Yes.
So I think if I can instill that in my kids, because, we're not eternal. So what do I want my kids to remember me by? What do I want them to be proud about? What did I do that made them proud? It's not because I bought them a gift for Christmas that makes them proud. It's, oh my God, my dad's still taking courses? That's awesome. So I just want to continue showing them that that everything is possible.
Never stop.
Don't limit yourself to the status quo.
Proverbial question, so it's going to come up. Is money buy happiness?
Money buys you happiness.
Does it? Does it buy happiness? Or
listen, to a certain extent. And if I would say no, people are gonna say, you're full of shit. If I say yes, I'll be like, well, for sure, you're running 2 businesses. So listen, there's stresses in running a business and making money, but it doesn't come from the sky. It's that ultimate comparison. People will see that guy on the stage and they're like, oh, look at him. Yeah, but they don't know what he had to do to get to the stage.
Iceberg.
The iceberg is the perfect example is the iceberg. You just see the tip, but on the bottom, there's a lot of hardship. When I started Divino with Alessandro, let me tell you, we used to wake up and we used to have conversations about early on. I never told my wife, I never told my kids, I never told my friends, because they'd be like, you see, I told you, bro. I told you, bro. You should have let it go. Just concentrate on one thing. What do you need this for? We used to wake up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes in a mini sweat saying, okay, what the hell am I doing? I just dumped a lot of money and bought wine. I'm not a wine connoisseur. I'm not a sommelier. What the hell am I doing? You have those moments of questioning yourself and saying, okay, but really, what am I doing it for? So I'm bringing stories to the forefront of the Quebec population and soon to the Ontario population. We're finalizing LCBO, by the way.
Oh, beautiful.
Shout out to LCBO.
Beautiful.
But I'm doing it because it distracts me from my day-to-day in a good way. It's not because I need a distraction. It just helps me perform better in my day-to-day. So, and listen, I'm pouring my heart out in a way that you guys know me. I'm super authentic in my approach. But
I thought you were always very closed, actually.
listen, I'm actually an introvert.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
an introvert.
totally an introvert, right?
I'm an introvert.
You're a closet introvert. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What do we have here, Mike?
So, to close on my statement, it's basically to say that I launched this project. I'm proud that I did it. I'm happy about how it came to be, but I would have never, and I'm saying this humbly, I never expected it to take a life that it did. It's
especially in the time frame.
Especially in the time frame. Like we launched officially March 1st of 2024. We're December 3rd, and in this time frame, it's unbelievable. I've turned my inventory at least 3 times. I doubled down on Christmas orders, and whatever I had in inventory for Christmas, we're December 3rd. Let me remind you, I've got 2/3 of it gone already.
Wow.
So now I'm scared. That's one of my fears right now, is that I'm gonna have no inventory a week before Christmas. So now I gotta approach it in a way to say, well, too bad. You guys had your chance and it's gone. Or say, okay, well, what did I learn from this experience? Did I not be risky enough? And here I am, but
Sounds like a bit of both.
maybe it's okay. But I'm still learning.
Challenges. These are
good
business challenges, right?
Every business goes through that.
Sure. Hardest challenge you've ever had, and how did you overcome it?
In insurance,
Just anything, life,
Business.
general business, this business, your other one, your life. What's the biggest challenge you've had, and then what did you do to get through that difficult time?
Great question. That's a great question. My biggest challenge is paying too much attention to my inner voice that was telling me, maybe you should hold off. Maybe you should hold off. And when you're all in, and again, I'll mention, when you don't half-ass something, beautiful things happen. It's like, it's either you put your toe in the water and then decide what you're going to do, or you just jump. Hot or cold, you're going to swim. And the good news is that if you surround yourself with beautiful people that genuinely are your friends and your companions and your partners, beautiful things happen. You want everybody to succeed. Like Shawn, you guys have a firm in Ottawa. I want you guys to do as well as you can, because it's guys like you that elevate the industry to another level. We're not the typical insurance guy walking down the street and knocking at your door. You guys are elevating planning to another level, which is what is good for the industry, which is good for us. Yeah. So when you're able to approach a client and say, listen, I'm a financial planner. Well, they're not looking at you like, no. It's like, oh, please, you know what? As a matter of fact, I have a couple of questions for you. There's nothing more of a compliment than that.
That's fair.
I think so.
Fair. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. So what we're trying here is a bio wine, Corey.
Oh, this is a bio.
This is a bio. It's from a vineyard called Terre de Frères, just in Provence. These are 2 brothers that run the vineyard, 2 beautiful gentlemen who have nothing but life in their soul. And they're just great producers. They have amazing products. One of my favorite bottles that they make is a Sauvignon Blanc, like I mentioned earlier. Well, this is another one of my favorites. It's a Grenache Cinsault. So it's a 50%.
I've heard of Grenache, but I haven't heard of Cinsault.
So that's the grape.
I almost feel like I'm swearing when I say that.
Yeah. Grenache Cinsault. Grenache Cinsault.
I love it. So cheers.
Cheers.
This is another. This is another fresh wine in the reds.
Yeah.
So let's see your feedback.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yum. Oh, I drink that.
Oh yeah,
bottle. That's nice.
It's very nice, jammy. That's like how I would say jammy, because it's like
Jammy.
that. Jammy's nice.
Dirty.
Yeah, it's it's full. It's not. It's easy to drink. It's milder, not oaky by any means, but definitely jammy for sure. It's not overly sweet, but I do like. It's not super dry either. It kind of falls in the middle.
So
the
this
middle.
is 1 gram of sugar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't
No
know.
hangover.
No.
That's nice.
That's
But I would go back to like it's a nice fruit forward, jammy taste.
What would this retail for?
Yeah.
This is a $34 bottle.
Beautiful.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
This is a perfect replacement for those Pinot Noir drinkers.
Yes.
This is a great go-to if you're a Pinot Noir drinker. It's a crowd pleaser. Everybody likes this. It's versatile. Wow. You could have it with pretty much anything.
It's gorgeous.
I know I mentioned the other one with pizza, but this is from pizza all the way to a nice roast in the oven. Like you could have this with anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to like this.
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is beautiful.
This is not I wonder if
No, this is beautiful.
the crowd's going to like it. Every single person's going to like this one. Yeah, very nice.
That's
And his
lovely.
color's nice in that too. Not too
So,
dark.
I know that that wine is unique to everybody, but I think this one, whoever comes to your house, you could have this and
Yeah, agreed.
they won't be disappointed.
No,
Beautiful.
no, it's very nice. That's
Got good legs. That's
easy.
I guess the saying, right? That's not the
Easy
saying.
tiger.
legs.
Easy.
Good legs.
So
That's
you're talking about the wine, right?
the wine. I am
Yeah,
talking about
yeah. He thought because
well,
your legs were crossed over.
Yeah.
Listen,
Nice legs, Mike.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is nice.
So, I know that we're speed throwing these bottles, but just know that the versatility of the approach we had for this agency dictates what direction we want to take. So, like I mentioned, we have something from every line that you could imagine.
Right.
We're constantly adding, and we're making sure that we fill in a gap that we noticed that we have.
Of course.
Bordeaux being one of them.
Yeah, of course. There's
So,
many.
like from the standpoint of restaurants coming to you, is that provincial, or can anybody across the country or Ontario, they see the podcast and they're like, "Hey, I want to try that. I want to talk to Mike." Is it like, what's the scoop there?
Well, it is legislated provincially, so which is why we're finalizing our application with the LCBO, because there's a couple of restaurants that exist in Quebec that have locations in Ontario and vice versa. So we want to cater to those clients that are loyal to us. At the same time, individual clients can buy from anywhere across the country,
Anywhere across there.
but specific restaurants, because they're license approved, they've got to be unique to the province.
Okay.
But we have some associations like in the Maritimes, so they're able to still have our products if they wish to do so. But restaurants basically link their licenses through ours, and then we're able to, fulfill any orders that they have with whatever's missing on their wine list. And we're always innovating to make ourselves unique.
Great. That's so great.
Well, this one's lovely.
I love it, Mike.
Glad. So I know that we're rushing through it, but
No rush.
you
no
guys,
rush.
you guys need to try the Amaro.
Oh
we're
yeah,
doing the
no,
Amaros.
I
You
can't
need
wait.
to try the Amaro.
I've got no rush. We're
Yeah, no,
good.
the Amaro is right up there. Now, so I just learned about Amaros probably, I'd say, June of this year. Before June of this year, and I feel like I have been in the restaurant scene and wined and dined for a very long period of time, and there is not one point in my entire adult life of going to restaurants and enjoying this where somebody has said, "Hey, do you want to try an Amaro?" until June of this year. Why? Why is this so, like, I feel like it's obviously been around for a long time. I'm sure you could poll 100 people, and I'm thinking maybe 10, maybe would say I've heard of Amaro before. Like, it's
Well, listen, I think every country has their unique digestif.
yeah.
And if you pay enough attention, you'll find something from every walk of life. There's France that has a dessert wine or a apéritif called vin cuit, which is the equivalent of what they have in Portugal, which is Porto. Italy has Vin Santo or Passetto. Amaro is just a bitter digestif that you have after a meal.
Mm-hmm.
And you could accompany it with a cigar. You could accompany it with a dessert. You could accompany it with a cookie.
Yeah.
There's no real formula, but there's different types of Amaro. So Amaro ranges from a very bitter, not to use the double word, or you can have a sweet bitter. So the ones we're showcasing today are a lemon and orange Amaro, straight out of the southern part of Sicily, just in the region of Catania. And it's just on the foot of Mount Etna. So I said this story on one of the social media posts, but our order this year, we did a sizable order from the producer, and we're so excited because it was a brand new product. We were competing with similar products in Quebec, so we didn't know how well we were going to do with this product because we're like, what do we do? People are buying Amara, Nonino. People drink Averna, which is a very bitter digestif. So we didn't know what the feedback or the traction we were going to get with this bottle, but the guy calls us and he says, "Listen, you're going to unfortunately have to wait about 3 weeks for your bottles." So what do you mean? He says, "Well, the volcano just erupted and all the bottles are covered with with ash, with soot and ash. So we said, oh my God, it's exciting at the same time, but you're like, oh my God, we want to launch this product. What do we
Price
do?
just went up. Authenticity. It's just,
Yes.
you got real ash on.
And you know, we laughed about it, Alessandro and I. We said, "Oh my God, like, isn't that cool? Like, we're bringing a piece of Mount Etna back to Quebec. Like, it's pretty cool." So we had the idea of doing a post on Instagram and TikTok. So we said, let's see what traction it gets. And then while we were doing it, because we had to wait, we helped the producer rebrand his bottles. He was so excited about the rebranding. He's coming to the Quebec market. So he branded the bottles with a black background for the lemon one and yellow writing. And the orange one is white writing on orange background. And when they got here, the SAQ scanning system didn't want to scan the bottles because the infrared didn't read the codes. So they called us up and said, listen, we're holding your product. We can't release it. So what do you mean you can't release it? So, well, listen, the labels are no good. The infrared light is not scanning on your bottle. So you got to pay so much to have all the bottles one by one taken out of the box, relabeled. So it delayed us another 2 weeks, almost 20 days, actually.
Oh, my God.
So it took forever to get the bottles. And when we did, that video from TikTok and Instagram was launched. And within 72 hours, our whole inventory was gone.
Wow.
So it's just been a fun ride. Like across the board, it's been a fun ride. And those videos have triggered like relationships with the restaurants that I would never had otherwise. Because not to say that our wine's not sexy or intriguing, but everybody has wine. All the agencies have wine. So to call a restaurant up and say, by the way, I'm a nice guy and I have an agency and we have wine. The guy's like, you know, stand in line, you know? But when you tell them I have a Maro, they're like, you have a Maro?
Yeah.
It's private import? Oh my God. Okay, can we meet? And that's the reaction I'm getting.
Oh, I'm excited about this. This is going to be good.
Yeah. And tequila is going to be the same thing next year. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun.
Great.
I think I want to go on the tequila trip.
So, I mean, you could see the passion that I have for this new venture. And I find it's just adding a beautiful mindset that I feel I already had a great mindset, but it's leveled me up. It's leveled me up. Even when I approach clients on the insurance side, I'm a different person. I think I'm a different person, but I feel like a different person.
That's great. Well, speaking about clients on the financial side, you know, we've had stellar year this year. You know, markets are up. We've got change in government in the U.S. Some people's portfolios are up 20, 25%. You know, what's your advice, or where should a high net worth client be looking right now? What should they be aware of for the next 12, 24 months? Things they should be thinking about.
I'll give my opinion, and maybe you can chime in. But my opinion is that it has nothing to do with returns. It has to do with the process. It has to do with the relationship. I think what high net worth individuals or families lack is people that take care of everything, that help them address all the different aspects of things that are going on in their life and their businesses. So we're unique in that sense. Like, we're a firm that basically turns every stone. So we'll have uncomfortable conversations with people. So I think, you know, successful and wealthy families know that it doesn't matter where you go. I mean, the markets are the same for everybody. So everybody made money in the last 3 to 5 years. Everybody made money. So that's not a basis of, oh my God, this guy generated 30 points for my client, so I'm going to go talk to him. That's insignificant, because at the end of the day, you want somebody to be there when things are good, when things are bad, when you need advice. You want to know that he has a team, that he's there at every different stage of your life that you're going through. People get divorced every day. People get sick. People pass away. So all those instances is when you know you're with the right person. So it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm generating 25% returns on their balanced portfolio because I'm just an awesome guy. I'm not, because I'm not controlling the TSX. I'm not controlling the NASDAQ. So what I am controlling, though, is the process. I'm controlling the discipline. I'm controlling the narrative, not in a bad way, because I think that's what they expect. When you go into a mechanic's to check your car, you're not like, well, I want to know every single bolt you touched. No, you want to know that once you've established that trust and love, everything else is secondary. But that's the hard part.
You're going to fix the car.
I'm going to fix the car.
You're going to look after me.
I will.
Right.
And when you call me, I'm going to answer. My team's going to answer. So that's the intangible. That's what differentiates the good from the mediocre.
Right. Right.
And in our case, the awesome.
Of the awesomeness. What about business owners? Because I know that, you know, to speak to you before, knowing you a long time, is that you're helping a lot of businesses with employee benefits and pensions and stuff. So when you're dealing with a business owner and they've got 100 employees and they haven't spent time in that area or having those conversations, what's one of the first things you're trying to impress upon them?
Listen, I think one of my faults and my qualities is the same thing. I give too much information. So some business owners don't have the time for that information. What they want is that, here's my car, fix it. Just make sure it's okay. But you've established that trust. What I try to do is to tell them, listen, I'll be there. I'll schedule meetings with your staff. I'll make sure that I meet your employees at least once a year, just to give them a synopsis of the benefits. Group benefits is becoming a bit more complex, a lot of mental health issues, a lot of turnover in staff. So you want to make sure that your group benefits are sexy, they're relevant, healthcare spending accounts. You want to know that, there's $250 or $500 available to your employee to buy running shoes because he likes to jog. Well, that's something we could implement. That's something we can, you're basically telling your employees, I care about your wellness. I care about your passions, over and above saying, well, guess what? You can go 2 times a year to the dentist.
Sure.
That's important too, but you've got to bring your group insurance benefits to the 21st century.
How important do you think that is right now in the cycle we're in? Because clearly hiring is becoming so different right now. We've got employees of hybrid roles, working from home, the challenges of trying to create and drive your business. So how important are benefits and what that looks like to the average business owner right now?
I think they don't realize how important it is. So I think it's our job to bring it to the forefront. When you meet a business owner, say, you know what? I just looked at your benefits. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to take over your stuff. The first thing I'll address is make sure they have critical illness for all their employees.
What is critical illness for our listeners?
So critical illness is a benefit of insurance that'll be paid out in the event that you get diagnosed with any one of the 26 to 30 diseases or illnesses. Heart attack, stroke, cancer are the main 3, and so on and so forth. But what we do is we make sure that the employer will say, you know what, let's put a flat 10 grand for everybody. I know it doesn't seem like much, but I had the unfortunate situation happen in my family where I have an aunt that passed away of pancreatic cancer. And I had a conversation with my uncle thereafter. And he told me that, he says she was ill for about 7 months, which is a very long time for pancreatic cancer patients. And he said that after the 7 months, he looked at his credit card bill and he couldn't realize that he racked up something like $6,000 of fees. And I said, well, what was that made up of? He says, well, it's parking at the hospital, and then finding out that there's guests that came to see her at the hospital, so I pick up some Tim Hortons and some sandwiches and some soups and so just miscellaneous expenses that he's incurred over the 7 months. So I said to myself, it got me thinking, and it was at that moment that I said, every time I instill a new group insurance or revise a new group benefit plan, I'm going to force the owner to put a $10,000 amount for the family. And I've never had one person say no to me because the cost is so insignificant.
Yep.
And it makes such a difference. Could you imagine getting a $10,000 check because you just got diagnosed with cancer? It's not going to change your life, but guess what? It's going to help a little bit.
Oh,
and I've since thank you. So I've upped it now recently to $25,000 because the cost is so minimal. So really, like, what business owner is going to say, no, I absolutely refuse to pay $100 a month more to make sure all my employees have $25,000 of critical illness.
Right.
Because let's not kid ourselves. Most people won't take the time to buy that on a personal level.
That's right.
Or they can't afford to buy it on a personal level. So that's just extra protection that you're giving them and their family.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful.
So basically, to answer your question, the last thing is the wellness plan. I think that's the newest thing that you have to add onto your group benefits. Give your employees a flat amount. It could be as small as $250. You know what? If they want to buy running shoes with it, if they want to pay their gym membership with it, their yoga, it's flexible. They could do whatever they want.
Yeah.
If they want to buy a brand new ergonomic chair for their home, they can do whatever they want.
I agree. We do the same thing for our staff, and I feel like it's one of the best expenditures that we have because it's a great deal of flexibility.
Yeah.
We've got employees who buy power tools with it from Home Depot or a local hardware store. We've got employees that use it for their pet expenses, and we've got some that use it for an RSP deposit. So it's just incredibly flexible. I think it really bolsters up your compensation package for your employees. And like you said sexy earlier. I think when you're in this day and age, when you're literally competing to be the place that the employee wants to work, it adds some sexiness. Like the last 3 times we've hired, all those times, the person that I was interested in hiring has said, "Hey, I really like what you're offering, and I'm excited. Thank you for letting me know I'm doing really well, and I'm potentially have a role here. But just to let you know, I've got 2 other offers right now. Like I want to work here, but I've got 2 other offers. Just want to see if this is the best offer because I am kind of looking." And I don't think that's always the case for employers. It wasn't always that competitive, and right now it's competitive. So you really have to go in with your best offer to get a really key employee.
Yeah, and even for us, it's challenging as advisors. Like we meet every walk of life. So, what makes us different? I think it's only authenticity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really that.
Showing up, right? Caring, listening.
Yeah.
So when you care too much, unfortunately, you need an outlet. So
Well, this is it. You do care.
On that note, we need to try some Amaro.
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so here we are. We're back.
Yeah.
And we've got it all set up. Thanks to Corey and Mike for setting this up here. And we're going to try some Amaro, which I'm super excited about, from the Mount Etna region, which I just visited this past summer, which was an incredible trip and just a really super cool area. So great experience, but I want to hear more about this.
So basically, these Amaros are unique from that region. They have the similar process for their production, which is they're fermented with the peel of the lemons and the blood orange.
Okay.
So I don't know. Let's dive in. You tell me which one you prefer tasting first. And,
Okay.
the $1 million question is, what do you prefer, lemon or orange? Some people who are diehard Amaro drinkers, a traditional Amaro is an orange based, and some of those drinkers say, "Oh my God, I like the lemon better."
Right.
And vice versa. People that have never tasted, they prefer the orange. So it all depends on.
Try both.
What are you going to try
This
first?
is an aperitif or digestif, just like a chartreuse or like an Aperol or something like that.
That's right.
Right.
So which one would you like to?
I'm gonna try the lemon because I've definitely.
I'll give the dealer's choice.
Ooh, dealer's choice.
There we go.
Oh, interesting.
Go for it.
Okay, let's do a lemon. Okay, interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, is that in your way there? I don't even know.
Yeah, a
We'll
little
put it down.
bit.
We'll put it down.
We'll put it down here for now. Is that good? Awkward. Okay.
No, it's a very smooth transition.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
on that.
Yep. Yep.
Cheers on that.
Yep.
Cheers.
Good.
So this is the lemon. So I'm
Lemon.
curious to see your
Okay.
feedback on the lemon.
Okay.
Smells lovely.
Okay. Let's have a try here. Looks
that's nice.
awesome. Oh, that is amazing. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That is
It's pretty good.
okay. That's heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Isn't that great?
Wow.
That should be illegal. That's that good.
This is fresh. It's a really fresh drink.
It really
Yeah.
is.
Is it ever nice?
I've had many different comments. I've had comments like, "This is probably better in the summer." Some people are like, "Oh my God, this is amazing on ice cream." Somebody's like, "You could do a spritz with this."
No, it's just like this.
Straight up with ice. That's how I like it.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
just like
Opens up your appetite.
sure.
Yeah.
Not sometimes I find with those after dinner drinks a little too sweet or something. That's perfect.
Isn't it fresh?
It's fresh. Very nice. Love it.
Yum.
So it is misleading because it's 30% alcohol.
Okay.
So a little goes a long way,
Sure.
but it is a very, very refreshing drink.
Wow.
So I enjoy the lemon.
Mm.
My personal favorite is the orange,
The orange.
but it's a 50-50 split.
What's one of your favorite memories having a drink? It doesn't have to be this one. Just like, surely you've done enough traveling and experiences that you said, here's a moment I'm never going to forget.
Listen, it was summer of 2023, so very recent.
Okay.
We did a beautiful family trip in Italy, and we coincided with another family, beautiful family that listen, our families grew up with their family. My kids were months apart from their kids. So I'm friends with the husband. The wife is friends with my wife. And the kids are respective friends. They have a boy and a girl as well, respectively. So we happened to be in Italy at the same time. So we chose to coincide in Tuscany for 6 days. So we rented a beautiful Tuscan house up on a hill. And we spent 6 memorable days together. Prior to that trip, that meeting up with them, I was in the Chianti Classico region in Tuscany. So Chianti Classico is another protected region, Corey. So you've heard Chiantis, but when you see a Chianti Classico, it comes from a specific delimitation.
I had no idea about that.
And you can distinguish those bottles because there's the black rooster on it. So when you see the bottles with the black rooster,
I saw that. I just had no idea that it meant something.
that comes from the Chianti Classico region.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay.
so I digress, but that's actually a vineyard that's we're in talks with. The vineyard that I actually visited prior to that Tuscan villa, I bought a couple of bottles to bring back to the house, knowing that we're going to spend 6 days together. And the first dinner we had as a family, all 8 of us together, and we cracked open that bottle. You just sit back and say, "This is what it's all about."
Mm-hmm.
Breaking bread with people that you appreciate and love, which are friends. They're the family you choose. And looking at your own family and saying, what a beautiful moment. So to answer your question, I don't have to go very far to remember that moment. That's it.
They come by not as often, and they go by very fast.
That's right.
So and there's also this, I find as we get older, there is an element of when something great has happened in life, you need to enjoy it then, now, as quickly as possible. Because a lot of times, we'll have that dinner later, or we'll get together for a drink later to celebrate, and I feel like life changes so quickly on a day-to-day basis. Like it's like you must embrace that moment at that time.
That's so true, Corey. I think that's part of living in the moment, right? Sometimes we get so wrapped up in
whatever
tomorrow,
it is.
5 years from now, we're gonna have lots of time for that, and it's like, man.
It's funny you say that because my partner in the insurance firm, Daniel Landry, he's in his mid-60s, and he told me that he's had a lot of friends of his get ill and pass away in recent years. So we had a conversation recently together, and he said to me, he says, before we used to always do that, put it off, say, okay, yeah, we'll catch up soon. But he says now if somebody asks me, hey, let's grab a beer together, I'll just say yes. I don't care what I have.
Yep.
I'll just say yes because I don't know if it's the last time I'll be able to have a drink or a sit down with that person.
Right.
And that resonated with me because I think it's important to take the time and,
Do you guys remember Steve is a Gutenberg from like Police Academy and stuff?
Oh, that's right.
He's on Instagram. And so on the gram, I guess, as the kids call it, right?
IG, sir. It's
IG. Sorry.
On the IG.
Showing my age here. So he's on there on a day-to-day basis now, talking about simple things like reaching out to have a coffee with that friend. And he says, this takes effort. And so for anything to happen, you must acknowledge that it's going to take effort for that to happen, but go do it.
That's right.
Do it. Don't wait. Don't say, let's get together in 6 months the next time I see you. Do it. Embrace it. Go.
I appreciate that.
And take the effort, right?
Just
like you coming today. Took effort for you to come today.
Thank you.
It's pleasurable.
Thank
it's
you for
wonderful
having me.
thing to have you here, but it's like, we had to put effort to get here.
That's awesome. Well, listen, I appreciated the gesture because at the same time we're colleagues, and I know that this is a fun way to jazz up a podcast. But
it's a great way to do it.
It's humbled me to be here because I figure like, what do I have that's interesting to share other than the fact that I have some cool products, But you're right. We deal with unique situations in our day to day, and reminding people that there's nothing we haven't seen and nothing we can't help them with,
That's totally true, and I think it's sharing experiences and sharing stories and this. Right?
I think we need to share some of that.
I think the orange one is like, yeah.
Okay, well, we need to rinse these.
I can work in a Mount Etna ash joke. That it's like I don't want to have to ash you for another one, but let's. Here we go. Mysterious glass is already filled, just
already
like magic,
filled, just like
magic.
that. Now we try the orange Amaro. But I will have to say, when you first posted about this, I was so excited about the Amaro, and
Yeah, I am too. This is
the
highlight. This is going to be
it's a beautiful thing.
the bomb.
But all your product, I will commend, it's excellent. Like, I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
And we're not just saying that. Like, it truly is. This is everything from the Prosecco to the Grenache. Like, it's been excellent.
We should clarify too, is like, we've been doing this long enough now. This is, I think, our 4th season of this podcast that we're in.
Yeah, I guess, right? Yeah.
Well, it depends. We were counting 2 seasons in a season because that's how they do it in production. So really, technically, it's our 8th season because if you do kind of 2 seasons a year, but it's our 4th year of doing podcasts. But Mike's not paying for this. This is we've invited Michael and we wanted to talk to him about his story and his, him as a human being. This is not a paid advertisement. We were just excited to share because we've obviously know Michael and know his success and want to talk about his products and his business, and that's how we ended up here. So make no bones about it. Full transparency. Yeah. This is just about success.
And I must confess that the bottles that I chose for today were not strategically chosen. It's just because we're running low on inventory, so I wanted to make sure that I gave a variety of like the Italian and the French. And
So we got the bottom of the barrels.
you basically got, and imagine if the bottom of the barrel
this
is
is like
amazing.
baby duck that came to us.
You've got a 1971 blackberry special, and it's like,
Imagine if the bottom of the barrel, Corey, is this good. Could you imagine?
I can't even imagine the next level.
This is great. Well,
So cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
to good health.
Yeah.
To a good year in
Yeah,
2025.
absolutely. Cheers. Yeah.
Let me know.
Okay, here goes. Bottoms up, as they say.
Oh, I love the orange. Oh, I love the orange.
That is very special.
Oh, I love the orange. Yeah.
That is very, very, very special.
This one you don't need to drink after dinner.
As a friend would say, he'd say, a grand spectacle. This is like so nice. This is so nice.
The summum.
So molto bene.
I love that.
Bellissimo.
Bellissimo. Those are the go-to words when you need to express how happy you are.
That's right.
Bellissimo.
Bellissimo. Molto bene.
So what's the Amaro's retailing for?
So the Amaros are retailing for the exact same price. Both bottles are $60 a pop.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty good.
Worth every dollar.
They come in cases of 6, so it's not a big. It's also beautiful gifts. I have a.
I like the flat top of the.
Yeah, the bottles are unique.
bottle.
The bottles are unique. They're a dark finish, and I have a.
Do you have say in the bottles and all that, or are you just going to the? So Amaro is a distillery, right?
That's right. But no. To answer your question, no, we don't have a say in the bottles. But I think the producers are creative enough to make their products unique. That said, this producer in particular has an amazing gin that I can't unfortunately bring to Quebec.
Why?
Really?
Because his production line is for 1 liter bottles, and the SAQ reserves 1 liter bottles for duty free only.
Okay.
And for the moment, we're unfortunately not able to bring it. And now I want you to picture that it's the foot of Mount Etna. So could you imagine the soil creating a gin in that environment? What type of gin
Incredible.
comes out of there? It's unbelievable. It's fantastic, but
What about
unfortunately,
Ontario market?
so we'll see after I get the LCBO certification. We'll see what comes out of that. But the gin that comes out of that region is just
I didn't
spectacular.
even know gin came out of that region.
Well, listen, gin. I mean, Hawaii makes gin and vodka. So I can only imagine that volcanic soil does something unique to the products. But yeah, we're super fortunate.
Sounds amazing. Mike, how important is it? You're a positive guy, as long as I've known you. Super positive. How important is your quest for positivity, remaining to have a good outlook on life? How important is that in your success as a human being?
So if I share the following cliches with you, for the ones that are listening, it's going to be cliche, but I promise you that it's my daily mantra. Not every day is good, but there's something good in every day. And I wholeheartedly believe that. Listen, it's tattooed to my right arm. So I believe it so much so that even if something challenging happens to me, I take a step back and I try to look at what the positive in that situation is. It's equivalent of, I don't know if you've ever heard somebody who gives you the comparison of a rose. Corey, I think you're going to appreciate this one. So if 2 people receive a rose, one person might look at the rose and say, oh my God, this is so beautiful. What a lovely rose. What an amazing fragrance. The other person might say, yeah, but there's thorns on it. Exact same rose, two different mindsets, two different approaches to the same situation.
That is true. Yeah.
So, you know, I remember a story when my kids were super young. My kids were 6 and 4. And I used to go around telling people if something bad happens, it's so that bigger bad things don't. So that's the second cliche I wanted to share with you. So something bad happens is so that something bigger doesn't happen. So it's the equivalent story of, you know, somebody says, well, your kid spilled a cereal in the morning, got you delayed to work an extra half hour. Well, you avoided that intersection and that accident, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So something happened to me, and I used to say that all the time. My kids were small. And I remember one day I was driving back between appointments. I was running late, and I took a side street in Montreal. And it's a one-way street with cars parked on either side. So if you can visualize that, if you can have that visual. So you're driving down that street one way, and I was doing a little bit more speed than I should in a residential zone. I saw at a distance a little bit of a shimmer in the road, thinking it was water. As I got closer, but I was going too fast to slow down, or I couldn't veer left or right because I'm in a one-way with cars on either side. Somebody had dropped a whole gallon of fuchsia-colored paint.
Oh,
right on the left side of the
God.
wheel well. Yeah. So needless to say, I was driving a brand new vehicle. Listen, I couldn't slow down in time. Basically, the fuchsia paint splashed all the way in the wheel wells on the left side of the car, all along the side of my vehicle. I couldn't find a car wash for the life of me. Then I spoke to one of my friends. He told me, listen, tomorrow I got you an appointment at a detail shop. They'll be able to take care of it. Don't worry. So I had to go home with that car that night. The next morning, as I did every morning, drove my kids to school, 6 and 4, keep in mind. My son comes out at 4 years old and says, Daddy, what did you do to your car? So I said, oh my God, the paint. I drove, you know, trying to explain to them and in ways that they can understand, right? And my daughter says to my son, don't worry. It's okay. Bad things happen so that bigger bad things don't.
Oh, amazing.
It's better that it's just paint and not Daddy getting into an accident. That was, for me, by far, the moment that I realized how much of an impact I had on my children.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how I keep a positive mindset.
Amazing, Mike.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, this is amazing. Really appreciate you coming down.
Absolutely spectacular. Thank you, Mike. We wish you all the best on your new venture and success.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It's a pleasure having you in our life, and we enjoy all our
Thank you.
time
I appreciate you
together.
guys. I'm super grateful.
Wishing everyone an amazing 2025. And
Yes.
Thank you.
thank you for taking that time to share about your past, your journey, your business, your financial side, your wine and distribution business. Amazing.
Thank you. I
Divino.
appreciate it, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.